Hey! Anybody in there? Hey rail fans, Penn Central 99 here. It's June 2013. Thought I'd put together a real quick video update, or layout update should I say. I'll show you a couple of things that I've been doing around here. Plus, maybe get a surprise in at the end that has absolutely nothing to do with model railroading. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you around. The first thing I want to do is answer some of the questions that I get on the helix. Some of the most common questions that I get on the helix is the grade and the spacing. First of all, as you can see, I've got a tape measure set up here. The spacing for the levels of the helix is about 4 inches, and with a 22-inch radius for the helix, that equates to about a 3% grade. I know a lot of people have questions about the incline, how much rolling stock can you pull, and with a 4-inch spacing on a 22-inch radius, like I said, that equates to about a 3% grade. Didn't want to go too steep, that way the locos would have difficulty, and of course I've only got so much space to work with. I wish I could have made it bigger, but I've only got so much room to deal with. So 3% grade, is it ideal? No. Does it work? Yeah. But like I say, as you can see here, this is the spacing on the levels of the helix. Okay, the next thing I want to go over is some rolling stock that I bought. I found this on eBay a couple of months ago. You can see here I've got an Athearn ACF center flow hopper. Painted and schemed for Penn Central. I was pretty happy. I found this a pretty good deal. I think I paid maybe 10 or 11 bucks for it on eBay. Pretty happy with it. Like I said, it's an Athearn. It's got knuckle couplers and metal wheels. Only paid a couple bucks for it. I was pretty happy and jazzed with the pretty basic and simple paint scheme, but it is in Penn Central. Pretty happy with that. Okay, one of the other things that I've started to do is I started to decorate the train room with some pictures. As you can see here, there's some pictures of some locomotives. On this wall over here, I've got some pictures also. What I did is I went on the internet, looked for pictures of the locomotives that I have. Believe it or not, that's UP 9807. I actually have that C44-9W. There's the Norfolk Southern Heritage scheme, Penn Central. I've got that one on order with Athearn. Hopefully it'll be in a couple of months. But as you can see, I started hanging some pictures. Like I said, what I did is I went on the internet and looked for these images, and I just printed them out on my computer. Make the room look a little bit better. Okay, here's the opposite wall in the layout room, and like I said, this is pretty simple. Find the images of the locomotives or rolling stock that you have, print them on 8x10 photo paper, which I did. I went to Walmart and bought the frames. I think the frames were $2 a piece, or just little plastic frames. No big deal. Takes a couple of minutes to do. That particular image right there is the Lycans Valley Railroad. That's an S2 that they use for moving stock and hauling freight on a short branch line in the Lycans Valley, which is the area where I'm originally from. So I found that on the internet, thought that was pretty cool. Maybe somewhere down the road I'll actually take an undecorated S2 and use that paint scheme and make a model of it. Okay, one of the other things that I did is I added another area for staging. You can see there was the end of the old staging. You can see the trains and rolling stock in underneath there. I got some more OSB, and after cutting it down for the next thing that I'm going to show you, I just slid a piece in there for some additional staging. I just need to get some track put together and get it underneath there. I'm going to be able to park about another 5 or 6 trains underneath there. It's going to loop right around, hook up with the helix, and then be back up on the layout. Okay, and the last thing for the layout or the train update is probably the reason you've all been asking, or most of you have been asking, how come you haven't done any updates? Well, I hit a stumbling block. I don't know if it was just me or or whatever, but I had an issue. I couldn't figure out decided what I wanted to do. But the problem is from that point right there to this point over here where it ties in with the helix is a 2-inch drop, because as you can see I'm using 2-inch thick foam. So to make the transition on the outer area of the track from that point there to that point there, could decide what I wanted to do. I thought maybe I could put together some of those Woodland Scenics risers or incline sets that I have pieces left over of to make that 2-inch transition. But the problem is there's nothing there to support it. You can see I've got open bench work. So I tinkered and hemmed and hawed and took a couple of weeks or months off, figure out what I wanted to do, and finally decided that, well, if I'm going to use support for those risers, I might as well just make a riser myself. So I went and got a piece of plywood or OSB, made a template, because as you can see, not only do I have a 2-inch change in elevation, but it also curves. So I made a template, used a jigsaw to cut it out. What I did is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this underneath or not, but underneath on the bench work there, I just used screws. Can't quite see that one in the back, but I used a screw every 16 inches where there's a support for the bench work to adjust the height of the riser. So that's how I changed that elevation from grade to below grade. Got a nice transition there. As you can see, I've already got some cork glued down, so I'll be ready to head to the hobby shop and get some more flex track, because I'm down to my last piece or two. But that was one of the stumbling blocks, and probably one of the reasons why I hadn't done a video update in a while is because I was at a standstill. But I think I got it figured out. I think it looks pretty good. Going to be a nice transition down to the helix that ties in there. We'll come back up to grade, and you've already seen this portion of the layout. So that's going to be the outer level or the outer loop, and it's going to tie back around. So that's pretty much it for the train layout part of the update. Now I guess I'll show you some other things that I've been working on too. Now for the last part of the video, which is the surprise that I mentioned at the beginning. Even though I haven't been working on trains, I've been doing some other things around the house. I'm not going to bore you with what happened in my life in the last couple of months with things that I became priorities and needed to take care of. So we'll work past that point. But one of the other things that I did recently was for my youngest son. He's likes to throw darts, has always been into darts, and recently went and bought a new dartboard. So to have a new dartboard, I think you should have a nice cabinet. So what I did is, believe it or not, use some scrap lumber in the garage. This green circle is one of the inner portions of the layout of the helix levels. Remember when I cut out the boards for the helix, the inner part? Well, this is what was left over from the inner part of the helix. I just painted it a different color so I have a nice backing here for the dartboard. Helps eliminate some of the holes in the sheetrock. Went to Lowe's and bought some lumber. Took the dimensions and made a cabinet. Nice little cabinet for a dartboard. Looks pretty cool. I think we did pretty good. Some of the other nice cool features. Gotta have lights. So I went and bought some LED lighting, line the inside of the cabinet to help eliminate some of the shadows and exterior lighting so you can see where your darts are going. But this is the surprise that I mentioned in the video, or the beginning of the video. Made a dartboard cabinet, turned out pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it. We shoot darts every night, so it's already been used and get my money's worth out of it. So pretty cool. Pretty happy with the way this turned out. Well, that pretty much does it for this layout update. As always, thanks for watching.